Call of Duty is a monopoly in the arena shooter space, and they love to literally take down all their competitors, X-Define and Splitgate 2. The reason why X-Define and Splitgate 2 failed wasn't because they were bad, it was just because Activision knows you conceded to them. Activision knows that all you want to do is play Call of Duty. All you know is Call of Duty. All you play is Call of Duty. And they're using that against everybody. Heck, when Activision goes out to have like far leftist ideals and ideologies and manipulate matchmaking and all that stuff with engagement optimized matchmaking, people say nothing about it. But when Splitgate 2 and Next Define comes along and their passion projects, whether made by an ex Call of Duty developers that were unhappy about the state of Call of Duty, or about people and the other side that generally just wants to make a good game in a dying genre. But people still like, nah, those games are just free to play live services that will fail. No one cares about them. No one cares about them. But I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something right now. That Call of Duty is a monopoly in the arena shooter space. And I'm saying this to the fact is because you and just everybody in the modern gaming community has conceded to Activision, right? It's because Call of Duty, like I said earlier, Call of Duty forces ideologies into people. Number two, treat their development team like crap, as we've seen with the ex Call of Duty developer from Treyarch. I think Head Studio. Yeah, one of the Head Studio managers came out and said that I think after his NDA expired, he tried to come out and say that Treyarch and like I think one Treyarch Head Studio guy and Activision are horrible human beings, and saying about like just crazy things that you guys would have been like, what? All this gets swept out under the rug, but then Blame Truth, Nero, Foley, Gilmore, Jay Bowen, and more content creators that speak up against all of this, they the ones who are getting flack from it, because the gaming community thinks that they're just crazy and in out of their heads. But I'm gonna tell you, they are telling the truth, man. Like I'm saying this up in the front. Activision truly wants to have no competition because they know. Remember when X Defiant had a launch trailer, but then Black Ops 6 comes along and follows after a few days, which is a sign telling that, oh shoot, X Defiant had potential to overtake Call of Duty. The potential was there. It was there. And you know Call of Duty was scared because they know that the thing they lack is transparency with the community. That is one thing that they lack. So then now they weren't worried about X Defiant when it was shutting down, but now they was even worried about Splitgate 2. And I think this is where the former head of monetization of Splitgate 2 comes along. And how Ian may have been trying to tell the truth, but he is forced to like comply and just say like, yeah, this is all on me. I think the former head of monetization knew what he was doing. He knew that if he sabotaged the prices, then Ian would have like two. He would have been in a dilemma. He would have had either two options. Either one, just say sorry to everybody and just call it that, even though the game will still have like a horrible history. Or two, he knew that if Ian tried to blame it on him on a video or in a statement, he knew everyone would just come along and say, why are you blaming an ex-employee? That doesn't seem very CEO of you. So it kind of put Ian in a dilemma, like, dang, I wish I could say all this, but I just can't because it just ruins my image as a leader, as a CEO. It makes sense, right? There is a thing in markets and business called competitive sabotages, where it's a term where you just go into another company, you try to sabotage it and come right back to the company that you were in to destroy your competition, right? It kind of makes sense when you think about it. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think it makes sense because why? Now I can say this because I did bought the beta pass. Why would the beta pass and the battle pass be $5? And then you can get basically you have the battle pass forever as long as you keep grinding it, right? Why are you able to do that, but then release a nanoswarm bundle for $80 that costs basically like an entire game, like inflated 2025 game? Like, why? And the more you think about it, it's like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Now, just think about it. $5, a $5 battle pass, and then an $80 nanoswarm bundle. That makes no sense. I think Ian may have been trying to tell the truth, but he just can't, because he know if he does, then he's gonna get flack from it. So he has no choice but to just apologize and just, leave it alone at that. Now, I haven't even heard of the head of monetization said anything about it yet. Like, he hasn't came out to say anything or anything. That's why the more time goes by on, the more suspicious that I get. More and more and more about that $80 MCX drama. The more suspicious it is, and the more people just sweep it out under the rug. But anyways, enough about that. Remember, XDefiant and Splitgate 2 are a statement to the arena shooter space. Yep, they are a statement that passion can overturn greed. And the more people just disagrees, and the more people like keep hating on XDefiant and Splitgate 2, the more they're letting greed win. The more greed wins. This is no longer a battle about, oh, Call of Duty versus another new IP arena shooter that came out. This is no longer that. This is something more. This is something that transcends the dimensions. This is something more. This is about passion versus greed. This is a battle about corporatism versus community transparency. This is something more. This is a war, a battle that is yet to be continued. A battle between greed and passion. This, my friends, is what you call the passion versus greed war. Now, tell me if I'm wrong or right. This is just crazy. And like I said, I don't care. I generally don't care about being right anymore. You can say if I'm right or wrong, but you just gotta tell the facts, man. Tell the facts that Splitgate 2 and XDefiant are passion projects, and Call of Duty is just a cash grab. $80, well, probably $80, and it's still kind of scummy anyways. But yeah, man, they knew people was gonna complain about XDefiant Splitgate 2 for being unfinished and all this, even though they were free-to-play games, because people want complete finished games. But Call of Duty themselves know that they can only make half-baked experiences, because they don't need to complete the game, because they still get the money they want it. They still get the money they want it. Like I said, guys, it's up to you if you want to concede to Activision, or if you want to push back and fight against corporatism. This is up to you, and this is a battle for centuries.